What do you think about college? Is it a waste of money? Is it the way to become rich? Listen to this episode of Retirement Solutions for All Ages and learn how you can possibly become a billionaire without paying for college. We all know some very famous billionaires dropped out of college. Personally, I felt like I learned squat from college. What I learned in college was about growing up. I didn't learn about business and money. I actually wanted to sue for misrepresentation. That when I went to college in the 80s, they were just starting some of the online classes. And when I say online, what I mean is we went to an auditorium and watched a video up ahead. I'm like, we're paying for real professors and never got them. We got the TAs, we got the assistants. We never had any real professors. They were TV screens if we did. We had weeder classes, Anyway, enough about that. If you want to become rich, one of the best ways is to learn through other people's tips, knowledge, and mistakes. I'm going to talk to you about 10 of the best books so you can become rich or at least feel rich in your life. When I thought about this as content, I had actually read an article and it said, what are the books that the billionaires were influenced by? I knew some of them, but not all of them. And when I went to do this, I couldn't find the article again. So, off the top of my head, I plugged in what I thought were my 8 top books. I couldn't come up with 10. And then, of course, I asked ChatGPT, how does society rank these 8 books and what 2 books am I missing? And I was really pleased that it really was a solid list. I was a little surprised by some of the authors that I didn't know their names, but let's start with number 1. Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. Now, this is the most cited book ever as a foundation for personal development. Now, it was actually written in 1937. I can't imagine a book having that long of an influence and being just as impactful today as it was back in 1937. It's based on interviews with hundreds of successful people like Andrew Carnegie, and it talks about belief, persistence, and a clear goal combined with structured mindset that can lead to financial and personal success. Now, let me admit that I have ADHD, and dyslexia. So a lot of the books that I read are actually audiobooks. And some of these books I've listened to over and over again. And that brings me to book number 2, How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. This was written a year before Think and Grow Rich. It was written in 1936, and for almost 100 years, people are still citing it as one of the most influential books they've ever read. It's the cornerstone of communication. If you're struggling in your marriage, read this book. If you're struggling with leadership, read this book. It is a training manual. It is not manipulation, which is what some people have criticized the book for doing. But life is all about negotiations and philosophy and psychology. And Dale Carnegie, he also had schools where you could learn to talk and present. This is important in the day and age today where I listen to my husband watching videos on YouTube and I think, oh my God, those guys are AI. They type in the little speech that they want to have, or they type in the concept and get the speech from Chat GPT, then put it into AI and have a voice recording of it. So when my husband is listening to me on the phone, talking to real people in real time, he criticizes me for all my ahs and ums and hesitations because he is used to that perfection of AI. Well, Dale Carnegie taught how not to have those crutch words, how to be able to say what you want, think about it, and not go, what am I going to say? As a adjunct to that, you also have Toastmasters. Toastmasters cost less than $50 or so, depending on national dues versus local dues. You can join Toastmasters and have people help you get rid of those crutch words like, or ahs and ums, or all right, okay. Things that you say repeatedly that could annoy other people. If you sound professional, you'll be treated professionally. And this is something more important than college. So please get the audiobook, read the book. Let's see, this one I have is dated 1981. I've gotten rid of almost all of my real books because they take up space. My eyes have gotten bad. I don't actually read them. And I listen to them on audiobooks from the library for free. I don't even pay for the books themselves. So, anyway, all right. Number one, Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill, written in 1937. Number two, How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie, written in 1936. Number three, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey. Now, I've read or listened to several of Stephen Covey's books, and he's amazing. What I find interesting is I don't actually remember this book. I'm sure I've listened to it. I'm sure I read it when I bought this back in the 80s. But why it is influential is because it teaches leadership frameworks in business and in education. He presents the principles of being proactive. See, this is not AI. Would I do that as an AI person? I bet you couldn't even teach them how to do that. But they are teaching the phone people that are calling you and they're robots on the phone. They're teaching them to use the ahs and ums so they sound less robotic. So, anyway, I can do editing though. The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. It's about being proactive, prioritizing important tasks, and seeking win-win outcomes to build personal integrity, productivity, and strong relationships. I'm sure the reason that I don't remember the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People is because I'm proactive. That's not a problem. Prioritizing important tasks, that's a bit of a problem for me. I'm not very highly effective, but I do seek out the win-win outcomes. So let's see. If I were to look through the book at the chapters, paradigms and principles, private victory, public victory, renewal. Wow, not a lot in the contents, part 1, part 2, and part 3. So I'll have to read this. First, seek to understand, then to be understood. Sharpen the saw. Oh my gosh, that is so important. Let me show you what AI can do. I'm going to put this segment in AI and have it tell you the story later on.
A man walks through the woods and sees another man frantically sawing down a tree. The lumberjack looks exhausted, sweating and struggling. The passerby asks, "You look worn out. How long have you been sawing?" The man replies, "Over 5 hours, and I'm beat. This tree is really hard." The passerby suggests, "Why don't you take a break for a few minutes and sharpen your saw? It would make the job easier." The man responds, "I can't. I'm too busy sawing." The moral of the story is if the man had taken the time to sharpen the saw in the first place, he wouldn't have wasted so much time trying to cut down the tree. How often are you doing busy work and not accomplishing important tasks? You want to look at if what you are doing is going to produce results. For example, college. Are you there to party, grow up, learn from professors? Put into action what you are learning. For some people, going to college can actually be sharpening the saw. For other people, it could be sawing and exhausting yourself. This episode has gone long. To see books 4 through 10, please join us next week on Retirement Solutions for All Ages.
If you derive benefit from this episode, hit that subscribe button. Tell your friends, families, share it with somebody, and even write a review. Now, when it comes to any top 10 list, everyone has different opinions. What is your favorite book? Thank you for watching Retirement Solutions for All Ages. I'm Ruth, your retirement mortgage expert.